Hey everyone, it's Aaron here from Rudy Visuals. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. In today's video, we're reviewing this Neewer Motorized camera slider. This is the 39.4 inch, the 100cm model, the VS100cc. And as you can see, it's by far the biggest slider we've reviewed on this channel, but does bigger always mean better? Now, before we get started, full transparency, this is not a paid or a sponsored review, but Neewer were kind enough to send us this slider for review for free. But as always, all thoughts and opinions are fully independent. But a big thank you to Neewer for making this video possible. And by the way, guys, if you are interested in this or any other Neewer product, you can use our referral link for a 10% discount by using the coupon code RudyVisuals or by using the link in the description box below. So if you've been watching our channel for a while now, you'll know that we actually love using motorized camera sliders. They help you achieve nice, smooth, stable movement shots like this one, which is great for filming more cinematic and professional looking videos, particularly for us as we review a lot of like camera gear and tech related stuff. Admittedly, they can be a bit clumsy to set up and use, but it's hard to argue with the results. Now, we've only really had experience using smaller sliders though, so when we saw this 100cm long slider, we definitely had to review this to see how much of a difference having that extra length can make. Now, of course, you do have to pay a premium for that luxury, I'm afraid. This entire kit will set you back about $459. It's about £340 here in the UK. It's also a little bit confusing because Neewer doesn't seem to actually list the actual model names of the sliders they sell on their website. And there are quite a lot of variant models, some of which are a lot cheaper. Now, this is the most expensive model they sell, which is the VS100cc, and it features a carbon fiber body, a wired remote control, and a few other goodies included in the bag. But Neewer, if you are watching, please do add the model numbers to your sliders on the website so it's easier for people to differentiate between them. But like I said, for the price, you get a slider that's made from carbon fiber and also aluminium alloy. And for something of this size, this is actually really light. Now, we've reviewed sliders that are like a lot smaller than this, maybe like 1/4 the size of it, but are actually much heavier. But for this, you're looking at about 2.7 kilograms with the included motor. It also helps that you get this excellent carry case, which means overall you get a really portable and easy to carry around slider despite its larger size. Although once it is set up, it's not so portable once it's actually, all fully rigged up and stuff. However, the build quality is excellent. It definitely feels very sturdy and very well built. My only slight issue here is that the gear belts here are exposed like this, so you do have to be a little bit careful. I can imagine this getting caught on stuff and maybe it could easily snap off if you're not careful. You are also heavily dependent on the quality of the stands and tripods that you use to support this, so again, it's just something to bear in mind. With this slider though, you do get a few extra things as well included inside. So as well as the carry bag and the slider itself, there is also this remote control and cable which connects to your slider, a ball head for mounting your camera, an MP F550 battery with a charger and USB cable, a hex key with some screws, and a bunch of these shutter release cables for different camera types, which can be used for shooting things like time lapses. Now, setting up this bad boy is pretty straightforward. If you've used any kind of slider before, it's not really all that different, to be fair. And it's just a case of putting the ball head onto the slider, attaching the camera on top, and inserting the cable, remote, and battery into the slider, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, you have a few options to control this slider using either manual movement or automatically by dialing in the time and settings and then hitting start. The only issue I found here is that you are limited by the cable in terms of like the length. There does seem to be a wireless option as well, which for some reason is actually a little bit cheaper than the wired remotes, but I guess you get better battery life and more reliable control with this option. You can also control the movement of the camera by adjusting these 2 points on the slider, so you get some tilt movements while the camera slider is moving from left to right and vice versa. I found this to be perfectly functional. It would have been nice to have this controlled electronically as well, but this does the job just fine with just a bit of like trial and error involved. As for the performance and load capacity, well, this can support up to 5 kilograms going down to 2.5 kilograms if you set it at a 45-degree tilt. This won't unfortunately support vertical shooting or any other kind of strange angles, as due to the length of the 100 centimeters and strength required at extreme angles. So that is a slight limitation. However, for the vast majority of use cases, most people simply just do shoot horizontally anyway. And the benefit of 100 centimeters, that big length, of course, is that you get much longer slides, more movement that you can can even set it to go back and forth, so from A to B or A to A again, and you can shoot more engaging shots than you could do with a much smaller slider, which would give you more kind of like subtle movements. And you can get some really nice looking shots. That 100 centimeters is a really nice luxury compared to smaller sliders. You can get much more nicer, longer movements. Now, for those of you who want to shoot at a 45-degree angle with a tilt, you can use a tripod and a couple of stands to set up the slider in a few different ways, which is great for those of you who need to shoot more kind of like complex shots and get more creative. To be honest, I only ever shot it using it horizontally because I wanted to make the most of that 5 kilogram limit. But even with the tilt and a 2.5 kilogram limit, you know, it's probably more than enough for most camera setups. But for those of you shooting with heavier setups, then this might not be the slider for you. As for the motor and slider movements itself, unfortunately, this is where we did encounter a few issues. I would say when we were shooting outside, you know, 50% of the time I was able to get decent shots, but maybe the other 50% I did notice some visible shake, particularly when shooting like time lapses and shooting outdoors, like I said, when it was like windy. The slider can also be a little bit jerky at times, and the motor doesn't seem to move all that smoothly, you know, in the harsh winds and winter of the UK. So I couldn't really tell if this was something to do with the slider itself, because it's so light maybe, or because it's just windy outside. Maybe I needed to use some stronger stands to have it more securely grounded. And I think I was maybe walking around the slider while it was moving, which may have introduced further shake. Indoors, however, the movement did seem a little bit more stable and reliable. So personally, I wouldn't really recommend using this outdoors, unfortunately, unless you do have some like heavy duty light stands. But if you plan to just film indoors in a more controlled environment, I'd say it's definitely better there. However, shooting indoors, you still get a little bit of jerk during the beginning and the start of the movement as it's kind of activating the motor. So just something to keep in mind. Now, one thing that does really help is that the motor is really quiet. It's not entirely silent, mind you, but definitely quiet enough to be used when shooting like videos with dialogue or sound, you know, musicians, interviews, that sort of thing. So with that being said, all in all, the Neewer 100 centimeter BS 100cc model we have here is a little bit on the pricey side, but what you do get is that nice carbon fiber body, 100 centimeters of travel from end to end, and decent load capacity, and okay performance if you mostly shoot indoors. Now, if you need to shoot vertical or you have a really heavy camera setup, you plan to film outdoors, then this might not be the best solution for you, and I would recommend investing in something a bit more expensive. So overall, it's kind of a mixed bag for the price. Some of these smaller sliders we've reviewed in the past might be a better fit for filming outdoors, to be fair. But if you do need 100 centimeters of travel and you are on a budget and you can't really afford something more expensive, and then I think this would do a pretty decent job for the time being. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Any questions, do leave them down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more. You can also follow us on socials, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, peace.